I am the director of this documentary, and I have phobia with dolls. It all started when I was 5, and I decided to cut my favorite doll hair, and realized it looked like Chucky in a child play. I started to have nightmares about the doll trying to kill me, and eventually I had to ask my mom to take all my dolls away. Recently, I met a doll maker.
My name's Hazel Mould. I've been a doll maker for 20 years. People often ask me what do I do, and I say I make dolls. They think you actually buy the doll and you distress them, but we do the whole process of doll making. From the pouring into the moulds to the baking in the kilns, so that we actually reach the porcelain stage, which takes 10 hours alone in the kiln. And then after that we have to do the painting process, and all this process can take a minimum of 3 weeks to a maximum of even 6 months, depending on how intricate the painting is. So that's the kind of long process of doll making. It does take a long time. Many people wear gloves to wet clean, but personally I'm a very hands-on person, and I like to feel what I'm working with. And obviously 20 years of working with my hands on porcelain, it's removed fingerprints from my thumbs. I mean, I have got them, they are there, but they're very faint. So when I go into the States and I put my thumb on to scan, obviously it's a big problem. And the last time I went through a couple of years ago, it was a nightmare because they couldn't get a fingerprint, and because they're not going to let me in without this fingerprint. And I sort of blow on my thumb, and then he said put your thumb on your forehead, get some oil onto your thumb, and luckily that worked. Yes, it is a dying art. Why is it a dying art? Well, people can put the blame on cost. People can put the blame on maybe the next generation down are more interested in lunches and internet and computers, and haven't got the time because they're working and they're trying to bring up their children. You know, so there's many factors to it. But I think also our biggest factor is that no one knows that we do it. No one knows that we teach it. Unless you go on the internet and look, you know, whereas with you, Jenny, you went on the internet and you come up with my name. You know, and I know you've admitted that you're scared of dolls. I just hope that by meeting me, seeing what we do, give you a different perspective on a doll, you know, and the artistic side of the doll.
Hazel invited me to come to one of her classes so I can have a better idea about doll making. Here I got to see how they pay a lot of attention into shaping the eye holes to make sure that the eyeball will fit in perfectly. After that, the mold will be wet clean until the surface is smooth to touch. And then the artist starts to bend the eye by carefully drawing a thin brown line on the eyelid. She used a bigger brush to smooth it into eyeshadow, and then add a little bit of touch onto the doll face to define the eye better, and to create a dolly look. Finally, small brushes will be used to paint the eyelashes, one by one. The whole process requires very gentle movement.
I'm Sylvia Faulkner-Jones. I'm a Grand Master, that's a level I've reached. Here I'm doing a typical French dress for a little doll, which will be about 11 inches. This is the typical of the period of Victorian. It's all silk. You can see it's all ruched, and I'm just finishing off round the neck, and she'll have some lace around here and round the cuffs, and then a little pleated skirt.
Hazel also introduced me to Lucy Mould, her granddaughter, a little girl who is very interested in art and has special talent in drawing and making things. She wished to become a doll maker, just like her grandmother. And her first doll ever will be in this summer when she turned 9 years old.
Okay, Lucy, I'm going to tell you a little story.
Okay.
About Christmas morning when I was 7.
Okay.
And Father Christmas had bought me a doll, and it was called a rosebud doll.
That's
And she was made of rubber. with nylon hair. And my brother, who was 9, decided that he'd play a game. And as he was swinging the doll around by its arm, he threw it into the fire. And the doll caught light. But the problem was, because it was rubber, black smoke filled the room. So I had to scream for my dad to come down, and he had to hook it out of the fire and throw it out the garden. So that was the end of my only doll. I never had a doll again, just that one time. But only lasted for a few hours. So that's the story of the little rosebud doll. Yeah, but I think I have a little protégé sitting here because she shows a lot of keen interest in what I do. So that's important. And I've got another little granddaughter who couldn't be here today, and she's absolutely dolly mad. And she's always trying to get in the cabinet to touch the dolls. She loves them. So maybe, you know, 2 more generations down, we might have some new doll makers, which would be nice. They were made in 1880 by a French company who made many mechanical dolls, Gustave Fichet. These are well over 110 years old. I'm hoping that they will still be working. I've only ever wound it up once, and that was, you know, quite a few years ago when I bought it from Bonhams.